Good day everyone. So today we are going to discuss Rule 5 Violation. Article 22 Violation. A violation is infraction of the rule. So from the word infraction, that means paglabag or pagsuway. Meaning, violation is pagsuway or paglabag ng players sa basketball rules. Kadalasan na nangyayari yung violation is kapag na-mishandle ng player yung bola, kapag hawak nila yung bola, mas prone sila sa violation, or kapag gumawa sila ng any illegal move. So next is penalty. The ball shall be awarded to the opponents for a throw-in. So this is like a bonus points wherein it is the other team are given the chance to shoot the ball or have a free throw. So nangyayari lang yung penalty kapag may 5 team fouls. Binibigyan sila ng chance para makapag free throw.
Article 23. Player out of bounds and ball out of bounds. Player out of bounds. A player is out of bounds when any part of his body is in contact with the floor or any object other than the player above, on or outside the boundary line. This is when the player's body parts tend to go outside of the boundary line. Next is ball out of bounds. The ball is out of bounds when it touches a player or any other persons who is out of bounds, the floor or any objects above, on or outside the boundary line. The backboard supports the back of the backboards or any object above the playing court. Magiging out of bound yung bola kapag nahawakan siya ng player na out of bounds. Pangalawa, pag tumama siya sa sahig na labas sa boundary line. Pangatlo, kapag tumama siya o napunta yung bola sa backboard. Rule. The ball is caused to go out of bounds by the last player to touch or be touched by the ball before it goes out of bounds, even if the ball then goes out of bounds by touching something other than a player. The ball will be out of bounds if the last player interferes or touches the ball before it goes out of bounds. Second, if the ball is out of bounds because of touching or being touched by a player who is on or outside the boundary line, this player causes the ball to go out of bounds. The ball will be out of bounds if it has a contact to a player or an object who's out of bounds or outside the boundary line. Third, if a player moved to out of bounds or to his back or during a held-up ball, a jump ball situation occurs. Magiging out of bound yung bola once yung player dinala ito habang out of bounds siya, at kung dinala niya ito sa backcourt nila, magkakaroon ng jump ball para malaman kung sino may possession sa bola.
Dribbling. Ito yung isang action ng isang player na kung saan ay ginagamit niya ang kanyang isang kamay para i-bounce, i-tap, and i-roll ang bola sa floor. Sabi dito na ang dribble daw ay nag-i-start kapag ang player ay meron na siyang control sa ball, which is tina-tap, bina-bounce, or niro-roll niya na yung bola sa floor. Makukonsider daw na end na ang dribbling kapag hinawakan na ng player yung bola with his both hands. And whether accidentally or pinermit niya yung bola sa kanyang kamay, whether both or one hand. During dribbling, pwede na daw i-throw sa open air yung bola basta ito ay magbabounce sa floor or kaya may another player na makakahawak sa bola after ihagis yung ball. And also, wala na daw limits sa steps kapag ang bola ay hindi na nakadampi sa kamay ng players. Ang rule daw sa dribbling ay hindi na pwede mag-dribble for a second time after the first dribble, not unless kung sa dalawang dribble ay nawalan ng control sa bola sa loob ng playing court dahil sa sumusunod. Number 1, pagtira sa field goal. Number 2, na-touch ng kalaban yung bola. Number 3, pagpasa ng bola or mishandle ng bola at nahawakan ng ibang player.
Let us now proceed to Article 25, which is traveling. Traveling is the illegal movement of 1 foot or both feet beyond the limits outlined in this article in any direction while holding a live ball in the playing court. While pivot, on the other hand, is the legal movement in which a player who is holding a live ball in the playing court steps once or more than once in any direction with the same foot, while the other foot, called the pivot foot, is kept at its point of contact with the floor. Here are some rules to consider to avoid traveling and to perfectly execute pivot. If a player who catches the ball while standing with both feet on the floor, this is what he must do. The moment one foot is lifted, the other foot becomes the pivot foot. To start a dribble, the pivot foot may not be lifted before the ball is released from the hands. To pass or shoot for the field goal, the player may jump off a pivot foot, but neither foot may be returned to the floor before the ball is released from the hands. If a player who catches the ball while he is progressing or upon completion of a dribble may take 2 steps in coming to a stop, passing or shooting the ball, here's what he must do. If, after receiving the ball, a player shall release the ball to start his dribble before his second step. The first step occurs when 1 foot or both feet touches the floor after gaining control of the ball. The second step occurs after the first step when the other foot touches the floor or both feet touches the floor simultaneously. If the player who comes to a stop on his first step has both feet on the floor or that they touch the floor simultaneously, he may pivot using either foot as his pivot foot. If he then jumps with both feet, no foot may return to the floor before the ball is released from the hands. If a player jumps off with 1 foot on the first step, he may land with both feet simultaneously for the second step. In this situation, the player may not pivot with either foot. If 1 foot or both feet then leave the floor, no foot may return to the floor before the ball is released from the hands. If both feet are off the floor and the player lands on both feet simultaneously, the moment 1 foot is lifted, the other foot becomes the pivot foot. A player may not touch the floor consecutively with the same foot or both feet after ending his dribble or gaining control of the ball. If a player falling, lying, or sitting on the floor, here is what he must do. It is legal when a player falls and slides on the floor while holding the ball, or while lying or sitting on the floor, gains control of the ball. It is a violation if the player then rolls or attempts to stand up while holding the ball.
Article 26 is about 3 seconds. 3 seconds are also referred as 3 in the key, is a rule stating that a player is not allowed to stay for more than 3 consecutive seconds in the restricted area known as ball lane, paint, or key for short. If a player stays there for more than 3 consecutive seconds, a violation is called. Allowances must be made for a player who makes an attempt to leave the restricted area, is in the restricted area when he or his teammate is in the act of shooting and the ball is leaving or has just left the player's hand on a shot for a field goal. Dribbles in the restricted area to shoot for a field goal after having been there for less than 3 consecutive seconds.
In offense, a player can't stay in the key for longer than 3 seconds at a time. To earn another 3 seconds, the player has to get both feet outside the key before going back in. The violation isn't called if the player is coming out of the key, or if one of the team is taking a shot at the end of these 3 seconds.
So the next article is Article 27, which is the closely guarded player. This is a player na kinikonsider to be closely guarded if sila yung may hawak ng bola or kontrolado nila yung bola. And then, yung player na nagbabantay sa kanila or nag-guard sa kanila is dapat may layo ng 6 feet towards sa kanila. So, yung rule doon, kapag hindi napasa ng player yung bola sa ka-teammate niya or na-shoot niya before mag 5 seconds, papatawa na siya ng violation.
The next article is Article 28. 8 seconds. Ito naman ang rule sa basketball na kung saan once ang bola ay makuha ng inyong team sa court ng kalabang team, kontrolado nyo na ito. You need to pass or cross it immediately in your own court within 8 seconds. It means, kailangan nyong maipasa ang bola na galing sa court na kalaban papunta sa inyong court. So, kapag lumagpas ng 8 seconds at hindi nyo pa naipasa ang bola sa inyong court, doon kayo papatawan ng 8 seconds violation.
24 seconds violation. Nangyayari lamang ang 24 seconds violation kapag hindi na-shoot ng team na may hawak ng possession ang bola sa ring or basket. Rule: nagsisimulang umandar lamang ang shot clock o ang 24 seconds kapag ang player ay nakatapak na sa playing court or live court. To constitute a shot for a field goal within 24 seconds, first, need ng player na may hawak ng bola na bitawan niya ito bago maubos ang 24 seconds or shot clock. And after mabitawan ng player ang bola, kailangan itong tumama or makapasok sa basket para makakuha ng puntos. Procedure: nagre-reset lamang ang 24 seconds o shot clock kapag ito ay itinigil ng referee kapag may kakulangan or nilabag ang isa sa mga player ng bawat koponan. These are some examples of 24 seconds.
The first violation is the 24-second rule. The attacking team has 24 seconds to attempt a field goal from the moment they take possession of the ball. If by the end of the 24 seconds the team still hasn't taken a shot, the referee will whistle and turn the ball over to the other team. If the team shoots and catches the rebound without the ball touching the hoop, the 24 seconds keep being counted. However, if the ball has touched the hoop, the team gets another 14 seconds on the clock.
Good day everyone! The topic that I will discuss for today is article number 30, which is ball return to the backcourt. Ball return to the backcourt, ito yung isa sa mga rules sa basketball na kung saan ay nami-misunderstood na mga players na di nila alam na sa simpleng pagpasa or pag-dribble nila ng bola ay minababiolate na pala silang mga rules. Meron tayong tinatawag na front court and back court. So sa front court, ito yung half of the court in which a team with possession of the ball is attempting to score. Kumbaga sila yung offensive team. Kapag back court naman, ito yung half of the court that the team with the ball is advances the ball from into the front court. So sila naman yung defensive team. May dalawang pagpapakahulugan or scenario yung ball return to the backcourt kapag ang isang player ng isang team ay natouch niya yung mismong front court with their both feet habang hinahawakan or dinidribble niya yung bola sa front court. O kaya naman yung bola is pinasa sa player ng isang team na nasa front court. So basically, yung ball return to the backcourt kung saan yung isang player ay hindi niya na pwede i-dribble yung bola from the backcourt to the front court and then babalik siya ulit sa backcourt. So there is a over and back violation. Once na na-dribble ng isang player yung bola pa front court, dapat yung bola must remains only to the front court. For example, yung isang player is dinidribble niya yung bola and nasa front court siya, dapat yung bola hindi matouch in the backcourt or dapat hindi lalagpas yung bola sa mismong midline or division line ng court. Ito yung isa sa example ng ball return to the backcourt kung saan yung player ay pinasa niya yung bola sa ka-teammate niya and yung pagka-receive ng player is hindi niya na-control yung bola kaya lumagpas at napunta sa backcourt.
Article number 31, Goaltending and Interference. A shot for a field goal or a free throw begins when the ball leaves the hands of a player in the act of shooting, ends when the ball enters the basket directly from above and remains within the basket or passes through the basket entirely. No longer has the possibility to enter the basket, touches the ring, touches the floor, becomes dead. Root. Goaltending occurs during a shot for a field goal when a player touches the ball while it is completely above the level of the ring and it is on a downward flight to the basket or after it has touched the backboard. Goaltending occurs during a shot for a free throw when a player touches the ball while it is in flight to the basket and before it touches the ring. Kapag yung isang field goal attempt ng isang player ay hinawakan kapag nasa level na ito ng ring or pababa na siya, ayun ang tinatawag na goaltending. The goaltending restrictions apply until the ball no longer has the possibility to enter the basket and the ball has touched the ring. So allowed lang yung paghawak sa bola or rebound kapag wala nang posibilidad na pumasok yung tira sa ring or yung bola sa ring. At kapag bumabani or bumagsak na yung bola sa sahig. Interference occurs when after a shot for a field goal or the last free throw, a player touches the basket or the backboard while the ball is in the contact with the ring. So, ang interference daw ay nangyayari kapag yung isang shooting attempt ng isang player or yung last free throw is sinawakan niya or ginulon niya kagad. After a free throw followed by an additional free throws, a player touches the ball, the basket or the backboard while there is still a possibility that the ball will enter the basket. Ang interference ay nangyayari kapag yung isang player ay hinawakan kagad yung bola kahit na may chance pang pumasok yung bola sa basket. A player reaches through the basket from below and touches the ball. Kapag yung bola naman daw ay isinundot sa ilalim ng basket.
Another situation may interference occur is when a defensive player touches the ball or the basket while the ball is within the basket, thus preventing the ball from passing through the basket. It means bawal na hawakan ng defensive player ang bola kapag nasa mismong ring na ito or kahit na rin ang mismong ring or basket ay bawal hawakan when the ball has passed through it. Next is a player causes the basket to vibrate or grabs the basket in such a way that in the judgment of a referee, the ball has been prevented from entering the basket or has been caused to enter the basket. Minsan may mga player na sinasadyang galawin o tamaan ng ring para lumabas o maiwasang ma-shoot ang bola ng offensive player. Last is a player grabs the basket and plays the ball. Ito naman ay kapag hinawakan ng player ang bola na nasa ring at kinontinue ang paglalaro. There is a signal when goaltending or interference happen, like for example, when a referee has blown his whistle while, first, the ball was in the hands of a player in the act of shooting, or the ball was in flight on a shoot for a field goal or in a last free throw. Next is when the game clock signal has sounded for the end of the quarter or overtime. No player shall touch the ball after it has touched the ring while it still has the possibility to enter the basket. Reminder: all restrictions related to goaltending and interference shall apply. Next is penalty. If the violation is committed by an offensive player, no points can be awarded. The ball shall be awarded to the opponents for a throw-in from the free throw line extended unless otherwise stated in these rules. Walang makukuhang points ang offensive team at mapupunta ang bola sa kabilang team at granted sila ng isang throw-in. Next, if the violation is committed by a defensive player, the offensive team is awarded 1 point if the ball was released for a free throw, 2 points if the ball was released from the 2-point field goal area, and 3 points if the ball was released from the 3-point field goal area. The awarding of the points is considered as if the ball had entered the basket. It means granted lamang ang mga nasabing points sa offensive team kapag pumasok ang bola sa ring. And last is, if the goaltending is committed by a defensive player during a last free throw, 1 point shall be awarded to the offensive team followed by a technical foul penalty charge on the defensive player. Simply, kapag nahawakan ng defensive ang player ang bola habang sinushoot ito sa last free throw, it was a goaltending and it was a penalty.